Trans visibility is at an all-time high, but the backlash has been just as fierce. Transphobia is soaring, both in the streets and online.
Being singled out, always being targeted, a lot of us don't have the choice of confrontation.
I thought that if I left the continent, I would be safe.
I traveled across America to meet trans people trying out different methods to keep ourselves and each other safe.
We're going hot. There you go.
I'm Eva Reign. This is Transnational. I'm here in Colorado at the Tenacious Unicorn Ranch. This is a trans and queer safe haven that was founded after the Trump election. And I'm here to see what ranch life is all about. Oh.
This is Cumulus.
Oh, Cumulus.
He's about a year old.
Oh, he's so big.
Yeah.
They grow this much in just a year?
In just a year, yeah.
Wow. How many alpaca do you have total?
Almost 200. It
200.
fluctuates. And then we also have 40 sheep, and then ducks, chickens, dogs, and cats, and everything else.
Wow. Penny Logue is a founding member of the Tenacious Unicorn Ranch, which sits on 40 acres she bought in 2019. They're so soft.
So soft.
There we go.
Hi, Mocha. This is Mocha. She's gonna say hello.
Oh my God, hi. What was your ultimate motivation when starting this ranch?
This really stems back to my great-grandma, who survived the Armenian Holocaust. Growing up and understanding what happens during time frames of history like that, what genocide looks like, what fascism does, how it inhabits a country and slowly takes over, what those signs are. When Trump was elected, it set off all of those red flags. This is a leftist response.
It's a small but mighty response. For the 4 people who live here permanently and the handful of others who come and go, this is their whole life. They prefer living off the grid and define themselves as anarchists. What has it been like living here?
For me, it's been the best that my life has ever been.
Yeah?
Being here, I feel like I matter. I feel like that I'm adding to something.
I can look however I want and sound however I want, and I'll still be accepted. And I feel safer here than a lot of other places, because I know that we're protected here.
Why a ranch? And also why a ranch here in Westcliff?
This was the one place in Colorado we could afford at that time. We didn't research the area at all before we moved up.
Oh, really?
We just made the move.
Not long after they moved here, this queer utopia got a harsh reality check. What kinds of harassment have you faced since starting this ranch?
At first, it was mostly online. We were eventually doxxed, where they got the sheriff's department to come out and investigate us for animal cruelty. The sheriff's department found nothing.
The rancher's personal data was published on Kiwi Farms, an online forum notorious for organizing harassment campaigns, particularly against trans people.
It then ratcheted up a little bit with some of the local extremist right-wingers up here.
On July 4th, 2020, a local protest over COVID-19 restrictions saw the nearby town Westcliff turned into a parade of white supremacists and Confederate flags. Penny tweeted that it was full of Nazi propaganda, which pissed off some of the locals.
They came onto the property armed with threats of burning our house down. They forced us to pick up guns.
The ranchers chased off their attackers, but to prepare for future attacks, they amped up their arsenal from a few hunting rifles to all kinds of legal weapons, including AR-15s. Penny, who's an Army veteran, and Jay Stanley now fill the group's weekends with firearm practice.
So, you're right-handed, right? We established.
Yeah.
So you're gonna grab this with your right hand, like you want a really tight grip, like just like you had a Nazi and you're choking him to death. Pull it up, get on target, then when you let your breath go and you're ready to shoot, just pull the trigger 3 times.
Oh, pull it 3 times?
Yep, just 3 times.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
All right.
We're going hot. Shoot.
Nice.
Hell yeah.
Back to safe.
That middle one was dead on.
Yeah.
Oh, I see it.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
Well, okay.
There's a lot of power in that.
Yeah.
Isn't there? Yeah.
This shit is heavy. What does it feel like to train trans people in gun safety?
Some of the highest highlights of being here has been to take trans people out that have never shot before and like run through the basics and then get them on target. It's empowering.
Learning how to shoot from other trans people as a trans person was really cool. It just felt very safe. I didn't feel pressured or like I was in danger. Should trans people arm ourselves?
I think so. In my world, right, I would love every trans person to at least have access to arms if they're comfortable with it, and then the training needed to carry daily. I think it would be irresponsible to just give every trans person a firearm.
The idea that more guns means more safety is often used as a talking point by the mostly right-wing gun lobby. And research on how effective guns are for self-defense is mixed. According to a recent study in California, people living with gun owners were more than twice as likely to die by homicide. At the same time, in the last 5 years, about 73% of trans people murdered were killed with a gun. How do you all define safety?
Safety, I think, is like being who you are without fear of any reprisals for that.
So much of what I considered safety was just my ability to blend into a crowd. Safety as a trans person? I don't know. I feel safe here, totally. But I mean, a lot of the safety is predicated on, being around some heavily armed, well-trained, trans women.
One of the top reasons for gun deaths in this country is suicide. And also trans and queer people have a really high rate of taking our own lives. Well, what does it look like to keep that balance?
I'm really glad that with the position I'm in now, that I do have a gun. If I were a depressed queer kid, as depressed as I
wanted
was,
to mention that too.
I would not be alive right now. Yeah, not having a gun then was great for me. Having a gun now is also great.
Do you all think that a group of Black trans people could do the same thing in a small rural town?
If a group of Black queers started trying to do this, I could
The violence,
see it not
I think, would
going
ratchet
well.
so quickly. Like, you see how quickly it backlashes and becomes violent. I'll tell you what, we'd be there.
Being visible is how a lot of us learn who we are, by seeing, some other person like us. And yet, being visible can lead to violence. It can lead to being harassed. And obviously having this ranch out here, y'all want to be left alone. So how do you keep that balance going?
Like, we don't want to be shot at. Right. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to be left alone. We want to be a part of the community and help make it better.
Community is everything, especially for trans people. Because we don't have a lot of physical spaces, many of us find it on the internet.
Testing.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, there we go. Yes.
Okay,
finally.
perfect.
Okay.
One person who's been building a platform for us to talk about trans issues is the Canadian news and politics Twitch streamer, Clara Sorrenti, who's better known online as Kefalls.
They made it a felony for trans people in the state of Alabama to be able to transition under the age of 19.
Clara's community was threatened last year when members of Kiwi Farms, the same far-right forum that docks the ranch, targeted her.
On August 5th, I was woken up by London police services pointing an assault rifle in my face at my home.
The SWAT team detained Clara after an online troll sent a threatening letter to city officials in her hometown of London, Ontario, under her name. The email said Clara had killed her supposedly transphobic mother and was planning to go to City Hall and shoot every, quote, cisgendered person there. After police released her, Clara left her home and began staying in hotels for safety. But she says when she posted a photo of her cat, Kiwi Farm users tracked her location by identifying the type of bed sheet in the photo.
Living out of suitcases is kind of really exhausting.
When I spoke to her last year, she was on the run, seeking refuge with a friend in Northern Ireland.
It wasn't safe in my house anymore. I thought that if I left the continent, I would be safe, that they wouldn't be able to find me. Just over 24 hours after I did my first stream here, they doxed me.
What does it cost to stay safe?
When I was first swatted, I opened a GoFundMe that ended up raising $100,000 because I knew I not only needed to move immediately, but the police seized all my electronic devices, my work computer, my cell phone. They left me functionally unemployed.
Clara drew on some of her support to launch a grassroots campaign to take down Kiwi Farms.
Very good evening.
We did it. We actually did it.
Facing mounting pressure, Cloudflare, the tech company that hosts the Kiwi Farms, dropped the site from its service.
So many people have tried for so long to do this, and we actually got Kiwi Farms down. Oh my gosh.
Trans folks have been talking about Kiwi Farms for years now. Do you know why people weren't taking them seriously?
I think it was because people didn't understand the mental toll of online harassment. It only really feels like in the last 5 years even that things are really starting to change. It's a double-edged sword. Like, the trans community right now is hyper visible. That's great because it means more people can find community and access resources. But on the other hand, it means they're more of a target for bigotry. So many trans people don't even really feel safe leaving their house. So they build their communities online. If you target someone like that who really depends on their online presence to have any sort of community, they could end up taking their lives. Even after Kiwi Farms is completely gone, we'll be the target of this kind of harassment.
But you don't have to be an online personality to be a target. For many of us, the risk of physical assault is sadly not a question of if, but when. In California, the Trans Defense Fund LA is preparing trans people to fight. The mutual aid group was founded in 2020, and they host self-defense courses specifically for trans people.
There we go. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's it. Okay. That was really nice. Really nice. So this is your basic self-defensive stance. You may walk away thinking, I wish I had pounded that person's face into the ground, but actually it's better to be gone.
Participating today is Jocelyn Allen. She was attacked in the very hate crime that inspired the creation of the fund.
Shut the f*** up, bitch!
In 2020, a group of men attacked Jocelyn and her two friends, influencers and YouTubers, Eden the Doll and Jasleen White Rose, on Hollywood Boulevard. Her attackers recorded the whole incident and streamed it live on Instagram. After they hit Jocelyn's friend on the head, they mocked her as she laid on the ground unconscious.
2 years ago tomorrow is the anniversary.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It's definitely strange, especially being back in LA. As soon as it happened, I moved right out of California.
How have you dealt with just everyone knowing that this happened to you?
I mean, it was a lot, especially right after it happened. That was the first time I ever experienced physical violence towards me. It happened to me waking up in the morning and finding out it's on world news. It was a lot, and it really triggered my anxiety. I couldn't leave the house for about 2 weeks, even to go to the police station. You always see stories about trans women being killed and, going through violence, but when it actually happens to you, sorry, I'm getting a little teary-eyed.
No, it's fine.
When it actually happens to you, it's a completely different thing.
Many of the girls who participated in the self-defense course, as well as one of the fund's co-members, work in nightlife as performers, which puts them at an elevated risk of harassment. I'm in downtown LA, about to head into Jolene's, which is a trans-inclusive strip club event. The LA Trans Defense Fund is passing out safety kits, and the girls are gonna be showing out tonight. I'm super excited.
For Angel.
Why did you start the Trans Defense Fund?
This incident happened where 3 trans women of color were attacked on Hollywood Boulevard.
Right.
And I wish that I could have given these women like self-defense items. I wanted to raise money for like pepper spray and tasers, at least for like maybe 100 people. But like fast forward to today, we've given out the latest kit to like the 1600th person.
Wow.
Yeah.
Can I ask why you chose this night and this bar to do this event?
Either when we exit the club or like on our day-to-day lives, the nightlife that we do, especially like, you know, like sex work and stuff, sometimes the guys tend to get violent, and the stuff in the kit helps us like stay ready in case like these guys try to get crazy with us. Yeah.
What are some things that you think that cis people can do to help keep trans folks safe?
I'm a cis person and I started this like by myself. This is like my allyship work, and that's something that feels right to me. Just do something.
Do you think that every trans person should be armed?
Yes. There's always that one person that might clock you.
Yeah.
You know, they will. And sometimes that one person may be the person that decides to get violent with you.
Defending ourselves can come at a cost, especially when the justice system is stacked against you. In June 2012, CeCe MacDonald came to national attention when she accepted a plea deal for second-degree manslaughter. A year prior, CeCe was allegedly assaulted by a man and his friends outside a bar in Minneapolis. She says they yelled racist and transphobic insults at her.
Me and my friends and my boyfriend were just walking down the street minding our business. I never had somebody call me a nigga. To be faced with that head on, but then to have this burly ass man, you know, larger than me, you know, my face is busted open, I'm bleeding everywhere, and there's a number of people that weren't even trying to stop the situation.
Yeah.
It lets me know that people enjoy seeing certain bodies being put in harm or seeing certain bodies being attacked.
One of the attackers sliced open CeCe's cheek with glass. When CeCe tried to leave, the man followed her. She ended up stabbing him in the chest with a pair of scissors in what she says was self-defense. Her attacker died in the ambulance, and CeCe was charged with first-degree murder. So she took a plea deal that sent her to a men's prison for 19 months.
Being singled out, always being targeted. There is no wiggle room for Black trans women to say, oh, I was protecting myself or I was trying to be safe. A lot of us don't have the choice of confrontation.
Mm-hmm. CeCe's arrest sparked outrage in the trans community, and around the world, people advocated for her. Actress Laverne Cox even made a documentary about her.
That day, I just kept telling myself, like, I can't die. Like, I refuse to let these people kill me out in these streets. When people realize that you are no longer a cis-het woman and that you are a trans woman, that they somehow feel tricked.
Yeah,
right?
that like switch.
Right,
you know?
Exactly.
You can just see the flicker in someone's eye, and the fear that puts in you, that can be the scariest thing. So do you believe that trans people should arm themselves?
Oh, definitely.
Even when you have to defend yourself and you are the one who's being attacked, you're still seen as the aggressor. How do you cope with that?
I was attacked. It wasn't like I attacked them. It wasn't like we started the argument. You know, everything was on the end of the other people.
CeCe's attorneys pushed for the case to be treated like a hate crime and therefore self-defense. They cited her attacker's swastika tattoo and history of domestic abuse. But the prosecution said that these details were irrelevant and unfairly prejudicial, and the judge didn't accept them as evidence.
At the end of the day, I did my time, and I was sitting in jail and I was sitting in prison, but I could have been dead, right? I could have literally been in a pine box. But that also lets us know the work that we need to do. We need to start going to our legislations and enforcing them on laws that protect us, right?
What does it mean for you to be the survivor of a hate crime, especially a racist and a transphobic one?
There's no weight or value that I can put on my survivorhood because every day is about survival for me. There's no way that I can actually put into words how it feels. One of the things that I dealt with was survivor's guilt, right? That I made it through this situation, so many other trans women didn't.
Traveling across America, I want to say I was inspired by all of our efforts to stay safe. But what I really feel is much more complicated. Because why should we have to defend ourselves in the first place? And who exactly gets to claim self-defense? Is it the Black trans woman with a pair of scissors? Or the white trans people carrying guns out in the open? In the end, it feels like keeping each other safe will always fall on us. Until things change.
The harsh reality is like, the girls aren't safe.
No.
They're not. Like, yeah, there's like all these things, like, yeah, we're like progressive, like the times, but honestly, we're not.
As long as I can keep doing what I do and supporting the people in my community, I'm willing to take on that risk.
At the end of the day, I have a right to live my life. And if there are people out there who fundamentally disagree with that and who talk about wanting to exterminate me, yeah, I carry.
They're
yeah,
welcome
I
to
will
meet my
defend
home.
myself. And I will defend, my queer family.
Right.
It's hard to cope with knowing that you killed somebody. I was apologetic that a person had to lose their life, but I wasn't apologetic that I had to protect myself. I would rather have used my weapon than to be another girl being celebrated on Trans Day of Remembrance.